Every year, rookies make a huge impact, not only early in the season, but especially deep into your fantasy football runs, help you make the playoffs, push you over the top, get you through the championship game. Sometimes it's the big ones, your Travis Hunters, your Tory McMillans, your Travion Hendersons. But a lot of the times, the key value comes in the players we don't expect to make the impact. So I've highlighted 11 guys who may or may not have been on your radar going into the preseason that I feel are priority adds on your waiver wire. Maybe you haven't done your draft yet and they're a late round target in your seasonal leagues. Maybe it's just time to throw a future third at another manager in your dynasty league to add these guys to your roster. First up here is Keandre Lambert-Smith, the wide receiver for the Chargers, who seems to have leapfrogged fellow rookie Trey Harris for that legitimate wide receiver one snaps. So Keandre Lambert-Smith, he has taken 63% of Justin Herbert's snaps, and he made an impact on the opening drive in his week 2 game. He made a nice 22-yard reception downfield, and he nearly brought in a ball thrown a little bit too far in front of him for a touchdown. This offseason, or this preseason, he has 4 receptions for 109 yards. He has brought in a touchdown, 2.53 yards per route run. He passes the eye test, really nice ball tracking ability. He's separating well. He's running some clean routes, working the comeback routes very nicely, and he's got consistent hands. That's going to earn you targets in this offense. Past Ladd McConkey, it's wide open. Quentin Johnston has not proven himself. Trey Harris, I just mentioned, has not proven himself. Despite the day 3 draft capital, I'm projecting Keandre Lambert-Smith to make a legitimate impact here. 44 receptions, 617 yards, and 4 touchdowns in his 2025 projection for me. And I'm fitting him into my flex filler dynasty tier. That's a pretty nice spot to be in. I'm talking about a guy who he's going to be playing in your flex spots all the way through the season, and I think it could start week 1. I'm legitimately excited about Keandre Lambert-Smith. As I go through this video, I'm going to talk about my seasonal projections for these rookies. Those seasonal projections are available at the link in the episode description, patreon.com/rookiebigboard. I have projections for every single fantasy relevant player, and I have been updating it all the way through the preseason and will continue to update it all the way up until the start of the season. Next up here, we've got to go to the quarterback position because I know a lot of folks are rightfully excited about Jaxson Dart for the New York Giants. Now, I will throw my hand up and say I've been below consensus on Jaxson Dart all the way through, but I have to admit that there has been some significant improvement right away this preseason. When you're looking at Jaxson Dart, I think he is legitimately progressing to that starter role. I'm particularly impressed here with his improved mechanics, especially his lower body. If you look at his Ole Miss tape, his upper and lower body are rarely in sync, and you could see the New York coaching staff went to work right away with that. The footwork is a little bit more calm, and again, he's much more in sync with his throwing motion, which looks a bit tighter compared to his Ole Miss tape. So he seems to be progressing well in that way. He's completed 74% of his 35 attempts this preseason for 291 yards and 2 touchdowns. Here's my caveat here, and I think this is important to keep in mind. You look at his ADOT, it's 5.6, average depth of target, 5.6, and he has an 8.3 yards per attempt. That is really low. Now, if you compare that to what Russell Wilson has done this preseason, it's a 12.5 ADOT, 9.7 yards per attempt. This isn't bad for Jaxson Dart, but what it does tell you is that the Giants are running a little bit more of the short stuff, a little bit more of the vanilla reads, which makes sense. That's what they should be doing with Jaxson Dart. The plan was never to get Jaxson Dart ready for week 1. And if you have a lot of Jaxson Dart exposure, you don't want him out there week 1. He needs to adjust to the game, especially on the mental side. This preseason is telling us that he is checking the physical box, and he's progressing well. So I think it's legitimately possible that if the Giants are staring down, a 3-7 record when it gets to week 10, you could see Jaxson Dart at the end of the season. I do still think it's Russell Wilson's job. And quite frankly, again, if you are a Jaxson Dart believer, you want it to be Russell Wilson's job, at least for now. I got to tell you, maybe the most excited I am of any player is Isaac TeSlaa here for the Detroit Lions. And I watched TeSlaa. He was probably like the 66th player that I watched in the 2025 NFL draft class. And I just kind of threw him on because I had heard a little chatter about his athleticism. I had low expectations. I watched his tape, fell in love. I thought he would be an awesome, like 6th-round type flyer guy in the NFL draft. The Lions draft him round 3. Everybody's shocked. We're thinking there's no way he fits into this system, gets a lot of volume. I'm a believer now. I think he's going to get legitimate volume in this Detroit offense, and it's going to come with some massive upside. He's caught 73% of his 11 targets this preseason for 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. What I really like, 13.1 yards per target here, 13.2 average depth of target. TeSlaa has shown us excellent ball tracking, excellent athleticism, and good contested catchability. So I'm willing to get a little aggressive here. It's not too wild, but 52 receptions, 680 receiving yards, and 5 touchdowns. That's a pretty healthy projection for a guy that you were drafting consistently in the 3rd round or later in your rookie drafts. Now, I have watched every snap of this preseason, every single game, and we do have a free newsletter here at the Rookie Big Board. So the link will also be in the episode description to that. If you're enjoying this video, I'm just scratching the surface. I actually went through 46 takeaways from this weekend in that article. So go ahead and check that link in the episode description. Again, the newsletter is completely free to read and check out. There's going to be weekly info in there. Well, let's get back to the quarterback position, because I'm sure you want to talk about Sheduer Sanders, and I'm sure you want to talk about Dillon Gabriel. In my opinion, at least to this point through the first 2 weeks, they're both winners. I think the most important thing for both of these guys is that the battle is going to continue into the regular season. That's my expectation. Joe Flacco has been named the starter. That's not a surprise for anybody, including Dillon Gabriel and Sheduer Sanders. Their goal has been to make the 53-man roster, and I expect that both of them will. Starting with Sheduer Sanders here, he's completed 61% of his passing attempts in the week 1 preseason game. He threw for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. Just to give you a little bit of objective scoring here, PFF graded his passing at 75.4. My eyes, I saw good touch, good anticipation, and I saw him make some nice throws outside of the hash marks, which wasn't always the case in his Colorado tape. Now, on the other side, and as a reminder, I've always been low on Sheduer Sanders, so that's my bias. I'm just throwing it out there. But you did see some really poor drop back still, panicking under pressure, scrambling all the way back. Some of those consistent issues that we saw for him at Colorado. Now, on the Dillon Gabriel side, 72% completion. He had 143 yards, no touchdowns for him. He did throw an interception that he's been getting knocked on for a good bit, but in my opinion, I think it's pretty clear those 2 wide receivers got their routes tangled. I'm not crediting that one to Dillon Gabriel, but his PFF grade is lower, and that's why I wanted to throw that out there to be objective, 62.3. I saw Dillon Gabriel look confident under pressure. I thought he was an accurate passer. And one thing to note, a lot of the times with shorter quarterbacks, you get worried about them being able to hit their windows. Dillon Gabriel had no problem hitting his windows, no deflected balls, no balls batted down, anything like that. Both of these guys are hanging on in my bench depth here for dynasty purposes. I can't put a 2025 projection on either one of them yet. My expectation is Flacco starts maybe the first 8 games of the season, and both of these guys get a chance to start at least one game in the later part of the season, likely when Cleveland is looking at the, staring down the barrel of a top 5 NFL draft pick. All right, moving on here to Tory Horton out of Seattle. This has been a really pleasant surprise. When I watched Tory Horton tape, I really wanted to like him, but I just couldn't get myself over the hump. The Seattle projection felt a little weird, but as I've seen the way he's been used this preseason, I've definitely built up my confidence that he can be an instant flex play. I'm talking about a guy, I think you can roll him out in your lineup week 1. Maybe not bringing in 12 or 13 fantasy points, but 5 or 6. And as those bye weeks and injuries pop up, he's only going to become a more regular, viable option for you. I see him separating well. He has good ball tracking ability, and that speed that really was the critical part of his college tape is absolutely showing up. He has a team-leading 9 targets this offseason. It's clear they want to get him involved. He's got 4 receptions, 43 yards, and he does have a touchdown. This actually feels pretty bullish here, but I do have 50 receptions, 675 yards, and 4 touchdowns on him. And again, for his dynasty tier, I'm putting him in that flex filler tier, which is a pretty healthy spot to be in. I do have rankings available not only for this 2025 rookie class, but all dynasty players and all Devy players. That's also available over at patreon.com/rookiebigboard. The really cool thing about my rankings is that they use the same grading scale from Devy players, freshmen in college, all the way through dynasty players. So you can directly compare those values. It really helps you understand not only the value of this year's class, but future rookie class, and make sure you're building those championship winning rosters. All right, moving along here, because we still got plenty of guys that I want to talk about. Let's get into Ollie Gordon for the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to throw my hand up. I didn't see this coming. I had really low expectations of Ollie Gordon. You go back to his 2024 tape at Oklahoma State, absolutely loved the player. His 2025 tape, he looked lost. You go into this preseason, and he's looked good, but he does seem to be a bit of a riser by default, and that's okay. We still need to adjust accordingly to that. He has 83 yards on 18 carries and a rushing touchdown. He's got 3 receptions for 48 yards. So he has passed the eye test. It's worth pointing out that Ollie Gordon's touches have come late first half and mostly in the second half of games when he's probably playing second, but more likely third team defenses. But he looks powerful. He looks bursty, and he's willing to take his open space, right? I think with Ollie Gordon in 2025, he was dancing around a little bit too much behind the line of scrimmage for Oklahoma State. He's taking the space he's given, and that's a really good sign. But I say by default for 2 reasons. Jalen Wright has just looked downright bad. He has 19 yards on 13 carries. He looks completely lost in this offense. And this was supposed to be Jalen Wright's year to take that step. And starting running back Devon Achane has a soft tissue injury. Now, Mike McDaniel has come out and said that that's not a problem. He'll be back for week 1. But folks, if there is one lesson to take away from playing fantasy football all the years here, it is that you never trust a soft tissue injury, right? That's going to be a lingering thing, whether Achane is back on the field week 1 or not. He's not a high volume rushing back in general. They're going to have a spell back. They're going to have a goal line back. And I think Ollie Gordon can be that guy. So I have him at just under 120 attempts here, 490 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He could become an even bigger fantasy impact player, in particular, if he's able to up those touchdowns. Next up is a super fun one. Maybe not a juiced up projection right away, but I just can't ignore Efton Chism III. You can't do it. He has proved to be an absolute force for the Patriots and their offense over the course of their first 2 preseason matchups. His 14 targets is 2 times more than any other player on the roster. He has 121 yards. He has 2 touchdowns. He has an 86% catch rate and 3.18 yards per route run. He wins over the middle of the field. He's got steady hands. He's comfortable winning in traffic. And again, this is just a small projection at this point. 24 receptions, 280 yards, 1 touchdown. You've got Stephon Diggs there. You've got Kyle Williams there. And my big tip here, not a rookie, but Mac Hollins has gotten a lot of the targets from Drake May. I'm going out now, and I'm actually putting out Mac Hollins trade offers right after I'm done with this video. But after that, who knows? It's a long season. We're seeing some good output from Efton Chism. He could be a consistent slot guy for him. If nothing else, he's a fun guy. He deserves the shout out. He deserves a little bit of credit here. All right, next up, we're going to go ahead and talk about Woody Marks. And we're going to talk about him because nobody's talking about Woody Marks. He's flying under the radar. and I could kind of understand why. In terms of preseason action, actual snaps, not a whole ton here. He has 10 carries for 44 yards. Doesn't sound super impressive, but he's run the ball on 10 of the 11 snaps he's lined up in the backfield. So when he's on the field, they're giving him the ball. He's got shifty feet. He's a powerful runner. He's such a good pass catcher, and he's got such good hands. He works so well in space that folks forget that he's a powerful runner. And I think this preseason, he's shown much more his ability to run in between the tackles and his ability to win out in space. He has one target. He caught that, but that's all he has. But compounding this interest here is Joe Mixon's mystery injury status. We're hearing a lot of chatter and buzz coming out here that the Mixon injury could be more significant than we think. Woody Marks is the winner in that situation. Y'all, I love Nick Chubb. I've seen the best of Nick Chubb live playing at Georgia. I think in his prime, he was a top 3 runner in the NFL. I think he's a good rotational contributor in this Houston offense. He is not getting 60% of the work if Joe Mixon's out, right? Woody Marks is going to get his targets. He's going to get his touches. So you could call it bullish. I've been high on Woody Marks all the way through. If you watch all my videos, you'll absolutely know that. And you should do that. You should subscribe so that you know as soon as these videos drop. But I have 120 attempts, 45 receptions, 900 combined yards, and 5 touchdowns. Woody Marks, he's in my flex filler tier. I expect him to make an impact right away this season. I've been bullish, and I'm going to stay bullish. And there's 2 more players that I want to be bullish on. We're going to wrap up the video with this. If I did not mention a player you want to know about here, drop me a comment. Let me know. I will give you my thoughts on them. Like I said, I've watched every snap this preseason. I have my 46 takeaways article, which you can read in the episode description. So between this video, that article, or your comment, I promise I will give you some feedback on the rookie that you want to know about. But to finish up here, the 2 last guys I want to talk about are both weapons here for Cam Ward in the Tennessee Titans offense. Starting here with Elic Ayomanor, 2 receptions on 47 yards. The stats aren't super crazy. It's just what my eyes have seen. He worked very well over the middle of the field. I think you can copy and paste the best of Ayomanor's Stanford tape, his in-breaking route ability. It gets me excited. I saw him specifically targeted twice on the opening drive for Cam Ward, who did struggle a bit in that week 2 preseason game. I think he only threw the ball 7 times, and 2 of those balls in week 2 went to Ayomanor. That's a nice check mark for me. And I drafted Gunnar Helm late wherever I could. And even in more shallow leagues, I'm going to go out and I'm going to put some waiver wire bids here on Gunnar Helm. I want him on my team. I think he could legitimately leapfrog Okonkwo for that tight end 1 spot. He caught all 5 of his targets so far this preseason, 64 yards and a touchdown. He is a red zone threat. He's got excellent body positioning. He's got great contested catch ability. He's physical, working over the middle of the field. He's got good mental concentration. He's in my bench depth tier, which might not sound super exciting, but for a rookie tight end that went absolutely free in your standard 4-round rookie drafts, that is a good valuation and definitely somebody who I'm going to be in on. Putting out waiver bids, putting out trade offers, not only on Gunnar Helm, but on the other 10 guys that I talked about on this episode. Again, we've got rankings, we've got the newsletter, we have personalized access in the Discord, we've got 2025 projections. Links to all of that are in the episode description. Make sure you're subscribed because I have a lot of Dynasty content, Devy content, 2026 content, college fantasy football content, lots coming your way all the way up until the start of the season. And you better believe these episodes are going to continue coming out at least weekly as the season goes on. And I'm going to be back real soon with some more analysis to help you win that fantasy football championship.